Using adjustment layers, we are going to change the color of certain objects that are in the photo in order to match a color scheme. So in this photo, I've got the orange blender, the spatula that is green and blue, and then, oh, the bowl has a handle that's red. This is not a color scheme. I'm going to change the color scheme so that it is just focusing on the blue and the orange, so I have a complementary color scheme. So the first thing I'm going to do is create an adjustment layer, and I'm going to be choosing hue and saturation for all of the changes that I'm going to make. But I'm going to show you a few different ways to do it. It just depends on your comfort level, and also to kind of go over what's going to happen. So right now, the layer mask is white. That means nothing, everything is going to be affected. Sorry, everything is going to be affected when I change the color. In order to change the color, I'm going to be using the hue slider, although I can adjust the saturation and lightness as well. But as I drag the slider, I want you to notice that everything in the picture is changing. Some things more than others, but it is changing. So like the box back here is no longer blue, this is no longer orange, this is no longer blue, this is no longer green, and this is no longer red, right? Still don't have a color scheme, but I've changed everything. You may also notice that as I drag the slider, the color up here does not necessarily match what's happening on the screen. It's, based on what colors are mixing, what's happening there. So let's say I want to make the blender a stronger orange. So I'm gonna make it a stronger orange, but everything else is still affected. In order to make it not effective, I need to change it to black. So I'm gonna use the brush tool, which is the 9th from the top, I believe. I'm gonna flip-flop these so that black is in my foreground color. Using my bracket key on the keyboard, I'm gonna make this nice and big because I'm covering a lot of ground here. And you'll notice that all my colors went back to normal on the areas that I painted. And while I'm painting, you might also notice over on the side, this is where I painted black already. So the box is still affected and part of the spatula is still affected. So I'll just keep painting until it's not anymore. And I'm actually going to make my brush a little bit smaller so that I don't affect anything on the mixer, except you may notice, oh no, it took away some of it. In order to fix that, I can just flip-flop back to white. I'm going to make a smaller brush, so again, I'm not affecting too much, and I can repaint this in, and I could avoid the mixer blades if I was concerned about that. I'm not too concerned about it at the moment, but I could go really small and do that. So now I've changed the mixer to orange. Still doesn't fix all my other problems, but I'm starting. And again, you'll notice everything but the mixer is painted black, so it is not affected by these color changes. The second way that I could change the colors is by using the quick selection tool. So it's the 4th tool down. If I'm not seeing it, for example, I'm on the magic wand tool, I'm going to click and hold, and then I'm going to go to the quick selection tool. And let's say I want to select all of the green. And I also see the green over here, and I've got a plus, so I'm just going to keep painting. If I select too much, I can hold Alt and unselect some of that area to just get the green. I'm going to make another hue saturation layer, or adjustment layer. Because I selected it already, it painted everything that wasn't selected black, but it still looks green, because I haven't done the sliders yet. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust the sliders, play around, and I'm actually going to change it to orange. If I want it to be a little less intense orange, I could take my saturation down, I could make it brighter, or sorry, more saturated. With the lightness, I could brighten it up, I could bring it darker. I wouldn't go, fully to either side, but you can play with your colors that way. And then the last one I need to do is the area down here. So I'm going to go ahead and once again paint. Oh no, I selected too much. I could use the Alt key, but I'm going to show you that I can use the brush and the quick selection tool together. So I've selected this area. Yes, I know I've overshot it. I'm going to go back to my adjustment layer, go to hue saturation. I'm going to adjust this, and I think I'm going to go for blue. Okay, and again, that doesn't match the slider here. It's just however it mixes. So watching the slider really doesn't help you. But I also kind of messed with the bowl, right? And so, didn't really want to do that. So again, I can go to the brush tool, I can switch it to black, and then I can come in and paint away any area that I affected. And oh no, I went too far, right? I'm seeing that red again. So I just switch it back to white and paint back in. And I can always zoom in, Control plus to zoom in, get tighter, make my brush smaller with those bracket keys. The bracket keys are right next to the letter P. I could also change my brush size by going up here and adjusting the size. I can also adjust the hardness of it. So if it's at 0, it's a really soft brush, and if it's 100%, it's going to be a pure circle. So you can adjust that to your preference. But now my picture has a color scheme. I have a complementary color scheme with my oranges and my blues. It's not completely random anymore. I could also go in and affect some of the bold. I'm catching some green over here that I didn't see before, but it's not that big of a deal. When I'm done with it, I would do File, Save As. I would type my last name, underscore, first name, underscore, and these are for my blow up edits, so I could call it blow up, I could call it color change, whichever, as long as kind of indicates what the project was, and then I would change it to a JPEG file type. The file name .jpeg needs to match the file type. Notice I didn't type .jpeg, it just magically appeared when I changed the type. Click Save, click OK, and then I would turn this file in.